Hi, and welcome to Comedy Recapped. Today we're going to be talking about a 1984 American teen comedy film titled Revenge of the Nerds. The movie begins with a teenage boy named Gilbert laying in bed when his thoughts are interrupted by his mother, informing him of his friend's arrival. It is then revealed that Gilbert is a college freshman who's skeptical about leaving his mother all alone while he heads for college. However, with some persuasion, she reassures him that she would be fine. Together with his friend Lewis, they arrive at Adams College after a road trip with Lewis's father at the wheel. After both boys receive some fatherly advice, they make their way to their dorm room carrying their very heavy bags. That night, due to carelessness, a fire outbreak occurs at a party thrown by the college's athletic team. This destroys the athletes' dorms, thereby leaving them homeless. With support from their coach and reluctant backing from the dean, the athletes displace the freshmen, including Lewis and Gilbert, from their dorms, abruptly and violently. The displaced freshmen were then given accommodation in the school's gym and made to endure terrible living conditions. The next day, Lewis, accompanied by Gilbert, goes to ask a group of random girls for advice on choosing a fraternity. A girl who introduces herself as Betty advises that they join the Alpha Beta Fraternity, which is known to be mainly made of jocks. The duo, upon hearing this, go to the Alpha Beta house that night seeking acceptance into the fraternity. However, they discover that they're set up by Betty and were made to undergo some humiliating and degrading initiation rites. A couple of days pass, and Gilbert runs into a girl named Judy, and the two build a connection after Gilbert helps her to solve a computer problem that had, until that point, frustrated her. The next day, Gilbert draws up a plan to have all the freshmen staying in the gym search for a new place to live in. Upon searching, Lewis finds an abandoned house which they all manage to renovate and thereafter live in. One day, after their house gets vandalized by the Alpha Betas, the freshmen decide to set up their own fraternity. However, their appeal to make their fraternity is turned down as a requirement to set up a fraternity is to have a national fraternity as a sponsor. Upon hearing this, they send multiple appeals to various fraternities. After numerous rejections, Lambda Lambda Lambda, known shortly as the Tri-Lambs, reluctantly accepts their appeal and places them on a probation period. The freshmen decide to throw a party to prove their new sponsors that they are worthy to be a frat. However, after getting stood up by a group of Pi Delta Pi girls, spearheaded by Betty, who promised to show up for the party, it was off to a slow start. Judy, who was at the party, invited her sorority sisters, the Omega Mu, to come over. After smoking marijuana and having some drinks, the party picks up and becomes lively. Lewis bonds with one of the Omega Mu's and ends up having sex with her, while Gilbert struggles, having awkward conversations with Judy. The party, however, is short-lived as it's disrupted by a drove of pigs that flood the house. After chasing the pigs away, they discover that they were sent by the Alpha Betas and the Pi Girls. This enrages the freshman nerds. After some discussion, they conclude to enact their revenge. Later that night, they break into the Pi dormitory and distract the unsuspecting girls while the others plant hidden cameras in their rooms. Afterward, they go home to watch footage of the planted cameras to see the Pi Girls undressing, making the boys excited and satisfied with their revenge. Afterward, they decide to go for the Alpha Betas, adding liquid heat to their sporting underwear just before practice. Their act of rebellion impresses Mr. Jefferson, the head of the Tri-Lambs National Sorority, and prompts him to grant the nerds full membership. The next night, the Alpha Betas set fire on their porch, spelling the words nerd. The freshmen, angered by this, take the matter to the Greek Council to file a complaint after the campus police tell them that fraternity pranks are outside their jurisdiction. However, their frustrations are dismissed by Stan, the head of the Alpha Beta, who also happened to be the president of the council. The nerds, upon realizing that they'd never get a fair ruling as long as Stan remained the president, decide to have one of them become the new president. The only way to do this, however, is to win the homecoming carnival, which is a Herculean task, but one that they were determined to accomplish. The day of the homecoming carnival arrives and the competition begins with the Tri-Lam nerds taking the lead when Takashi, an Asian immigrant in the group, wins the cycling competition. However, their lead is short-lived as the Alpha Beta Jocks easily dominate competitions like arm wrestling and tug-of-war. After finalization of the field events, the Alpha Betas were in the lead, with a scoreline of 50 to the Tri-Lambs at 35. However, after the next stage of the competition, the charity fundraiser, the Tri-Lambs managed to come back to secure a tie with the Alpha Betas. During the carnival, Betty urges Stan to have sex with her, but he refuses, saying, "Betty, you're like a goat." An angered Betty storms off into a tent. Lewis, who notices this, wears a costume to hide his identity and follows her. Betty, thinking Lewis was Stan hiding behind the costume, proceeds to have sex with him. Afterward, she discovers that the person behind the costume was indeed Lewis. A previously shocked Betty commends him on his sexual skills and states that she'd like to sleep with him again after the carnival. Finally, with the last stage of the competition, the musical show and skit competition, the Tri-Lambs successfully edge out the Alpha Betas with an impressive show of fireworks, upbeat rapping, and dancing, as well as fun costumes. The crowd roars in applause as the dean crowns the Tri-Lambs the champions. After which, they announce Gilbert as the new Greek Council president. The Alpha Betas, on hearing this, head to the Tri-Lambs' house, trashing and destroying everything. Upon discovering this, the Tri-Lambs, Gilbert especially, is furious. He proceeds to march solo to the school's assembly. Upon arrival, however, he's thrown into a pond by the Jocks. He picks himself up and makes his way to grab the mic, but is stopped by the jock coach who rough-handles him. The coach, however, is quickly stopped by the dean who orders him to let the boy be. The coach, angered by this, proceeds to attack the dean but is stopped when the rest of the Tri-Lambs arrived, led by Mr. Jefferson. Gilbert is then given the mic and he proceeds to give a heartfelt speech, owning the fact that he's a nerd and firmly stating that Jocks will no longer be allowed to bully or toy with them anymore. Lewis runs to join him, asking anyone who's ever felt bullied to join them at the center of the field. One by one, all the students, with the exception of the Jocks, proceed to join the duo. A now emboldened dean commands the Jocks to evacuate from their dorm to give room for the Tri-Lambs, asking them to live in the gym until they repair the damage they inflicted on the Tri-Lambs' house. The movie ends with Gilbert and Judy, as well as Lewis and Betty, sharing a kiss. And that's it for Revenge of the Nerds. Hopefully you enjoyed this recap as much as we did. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you'd like to look into other movies with us, then make sure you drop a like and click the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.